Greetings, good evening. I hope this is live. It says I'm live anyway. So, good evening, good evening, good evening. It is Sunday. It is 8 o'clock, which means it's Doctor Who. Tonight, going to be doing the Doctor Who movie with Paul McGann and Eric Roberts. Lots to talk about with this. I think, in terms of regeneration episodes, I think this is pretty good, though. I think this does a good job of a jumping on point for a regeneration episode. Hello, how's it going, Chris? As a jumping on point for Doctor Who, if you don't know the show, this is pretty solid. Now, look, the story itself is a little bit lackadaisical, and the explanations and the back and forth is a little bit weak, but there is a lot in here about the movie that's all about Doctor Who lore, and that's really the key to why this is such a good Doctor Who story. Is simply the fact that there's so much in it about the Doctor, the Daleks, the Master, the Time Lords, who's who, where he's from. There's just so much of the Doctor Who story, the backstory. That's why I think it's a good jumping on point. It's not to do with the fact that it's a good sci-fi story or anything like that. It's purely just because of the exposition of who the Doctor is and who the Master is and the Daleks are. Even though worst Daleks in history, at least worst Dalek voices in it, they're pretty bad. The Dalek voice at the start of this is pretty bad. It's kind of like Alvin and the Chipmunks, just through a face pedal. But yeah, as an explanation as to the whole sort of Doctor Who universe, as to where the Doctor's from and all that, this is really, really informative. They actually do sacrifice a lot of story for exposition. Interestingly enough, before we get started into this, it's worth talking about Sylvester McCoy. Not the nicest costume that Sylvester gets to wear. Very poor Dalek voices, good comedy though. Right, so the Dalek voice is the way it is at the start of this, because one, it was done by Jeffrey Sachs, the guy who directed it, and number two, he didn't know what a Dalek sounded like. So he recorded the voice of him saying exterminate, exterminate, and then they treated it afterwards. But they didn't know what it was supposed to sound like. So, which was odd, because at one point, during an interview, Jeffrey Sachs is saying he was a Doctor Who fan, and then so there's a convoluted set of excuses for this film, and you're not quite sure who to believe, because on one hand, you've got Eric Roberts cast as the Master, and there's a bit whereby during interviews and whatnot, they're talking about how Eric Roberts was unsure on wearing the Master's clothes and things like that, because it seemed weird to him, and they had to explain to him the show. But in another interview with Eric Roberts, he says, no, I knew what Doctor Who was. I grew up with it when I was a kid. It was in the 70s. It was this cheesy thing. And so he knew what Doctor Who was. And I'd rather take Eric Roberts on his word on that, when he's able to talk about it and say, look, it was a cheesy show. We watched it from time to time. I knew of it and I knew what it was. But, so for them to turn and say, oh, no, I think they were just going around the whole, he's American, don't worry about it. So yeah, I'm gonna take Eric Roberts on his word, and I think Eric Roberts did know who the Doctor was, and Doctor Who, and I'd be willing to bet that he did see it. And the other bit of stuff about that was Sylvester. Again, getting back to Sylvester McCoy. During the production of this, which is really weird, right? So there were 5 studios involved in the making of this film. Too many cooks, I guess. And one of them was Amblin. Now, if you don't know this, but the original person brought on to direct this movie was Steven Spielberg. Now, people have said before, oh, no, Amblin's involvement wasn't meant to be... No, he was meant to direct. He absolutely was. To the point whereby, if you go and look, you will find Amblin had done tests, not just for the title sequence, but they'd also done a test for the Dalek. They'd also done a set test, and all done in CG. But they had done it all. And what they were boning up to was to do the film in '96, I guess. 2 years to make the film. Well, you're making the film '95. But what happened was that during that time, Amblin decided to pull out due to problems with other studios. And when they did, they didn't tell the BBC. So 20th Century Fox, Universal Studios, Fox Network, and who else was involved? I mean, the BBC were involved as well, Amblin. But Amblin decides to pull out, and nobody tells the BBC that Spielberg isn't on board anymore. And that's how they kept their involvement. Was that it was a bit of a tricky situation anyway. But what was interesting was the fact that when it came to Sylvester McCoy, they actually wanted the 4th Doctor, which is weird, right? And their thinking was that, and it was Joe Wright actually who wanted the 4th Doctor, and Joe Wright was the co-executive producer, but he was the BBC representative. And he wanted the 4th Doctor, not Sylvester McCoy, because Sylvester McCoy was sort of the less popular Doctor. And what actually happened there was that I think he's actually on the thing on the disc. You got executive producers Alex Beaton, Philip Siegel, Peter Ware, Joe Wright, Matthew Jacobs. So there's so many producers from different studios on there. But it was Philip Siegel that had a meeting with 20th Century Fox, and the 20th Century Fox went to the BBC and said, we want Sylvester McCoy. And it was kind of nice. It was odd, but it was kind of nice. And I mean it was odd because Universal Studio, 20th Century Fox, and they were the bulk money in this movie. They put in $3 million, I think, where the BBC was only put in 300,000. So they had the clout. They had the weight to say we're gonna do it this way. And they wanted Sylvester McCoy because, get this, a film studio said we don't want to reboot. What we want to do is keep all the canon and just add to the story. Try to make this fit into the canon of Doctor Who. Imagine that. A studio wanted to make a movie and not reboot. Not just go from the start and start again, but they actually wanted to contribute this movie to contribute to the continuity of Doctor Who. It does lead to some issues later on, whereby I think they try to cram in too much, whereby you've got almost... You can see this movie is heavily influenced by the 4th Doctor, like heavily. There's jelly babies, there's scarves, there's all different sorts. There is a good, nourishing, rich. I don't think there's another Doctor Who out there that has so many examples of nostalgia aimed at Doctor Who, internalized. There's like sort of Second Doctor's diary, and there's scarves, and there's hats, and this was worn in this episode, and this was so. It's really, really interesting. As a regeneration episode goes, though, where would I put this? If I had to categorize it out of 5, out of my top 5. My favourite one is still 11th Hour. Coming down behind that, it's got to be Power of the Daleks. It's got to be. Christmas Invasion behind that. Spearhead from Space. I think I'm gonna put that over Robot. Robot comes underneath that. This is gonna have to be under that, and then just go nuts. Just pick one. Pick a doctor. It would have to be Jodie after that, I think. Oh no, Deep Breath is here's a good question for you. Is Deep Breath better or worse than The Woman Who Fell to Earth? I don't know. But what I do know is I got my remote control, everything's set up, I got the Doctor Who movie ready to rock and roll. And I think what we're going to do is on par, I reckon. It's difficult because there's stuff I really, really like out of Deep Breath, but the oversized dinosaur, I don't understand why they did that. I mean, just ridiculous. I don't know. I think maybe they were doing Planet of the Dinosaurs or something, not that. But it was just like, why make the dinosaur? Like, it was easily 3-4 times the size of it that it should have been. But I did like what Peter Capaldi was doing, but it just led to just a bad run, I think, which is a shame because again, Peter Capaldi had all the potential in the world to be probably the best Doctor we've ever had, and we just didn't have the stories to support it. And the same thing's sort of happening with Jodie now. So she has got all the potential to be one of the best. She's just not having the scripts. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get on with Doctor Who the movie. And he's pressing play in 3, 2, 1. Boom. Here we go. This is the third voiceover because the first one was actually the Master. So, but they didn't like that, so they changed it for Paul McGann, and then they changed it for Paul McGann again because they thought, well, if you're going to do exposition, do it tidy. And so yeah, there's a lot of here we go. Watch out, 'cause here we come. I do like this theme. I've got, in fairness to it, I really do like the theme.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Sachs, director.
What the hell?
Television movie.
What is wrong with my bloody...
sequence that you just saw, Gordon Tickle played the Master.
How dare you? That's better. I swear I'm gonna throw this thing out the window. I love the theme, I just wish they weren't digital trumpets. I mean, it's what was it, John Debney done the theme? Again, do you know, they didn't want the theme. The BBC told them, no, just do it. It took them a while, they had trouble getting clearance on the theme. But it was 20th Century Fox again, they went, no, we want the theme. And then they said, what about the TARDIS? And they were like, well, it's got to be the police box. I mean, at what point can you make a Doctor Who and then they like, oh, what about the theme? Like, oh no, you can write your own. No, we want the theme. We want the Doctor Who theme.
So my stories remain safe for its back.
And again, because they didn't want the BBC didn't want Sylvester McCoy in it. It's why he's got limited dialogue. Because they said, well, you can have him, but don't just don't have him say too much. And I think it's a bad way for him to regenerate. I've got to be honest.
Space and time. Nearing the end of my 7th life.
David Hodlin set. I didn't. When I first saw this, I didn't initially like this TARDIS set. Because I think it's a control console for a spaceship, and it doesn't say spaceship to me. But it's the other thing as well is that I wish that these other things had been in other rooms or just in other rooms just off the console room, you know, in alcoves or something like that, or just have these little arched doorways and have these things through there. I think. Yeah, there's the diary. So yeah, to have it all inside the console room, I think it cheapens the TARDIS. Jelly babies, of course, because Fourth Doctor. Not sure what to make of Sylvester's outfit there. I'm not really keen on it. Of course, weird that he's reading H.G. Wells' Time Machine, because in other stories he'd met H.G. Wells and travelled in the TARDIS. Was that Peter Davison? Where is Ace? The standard question that. So at this point, because it's coming to the end of the Doctor's 7th life, Ace is gone. Actually, Ace at this point is probably on Gallifrey. That would be my. Because we don't know how much time there is between 89 and this. You know, it's generally assumed that it's been several years, and I mean, it's from what I can tell, it's been about 200 years. So Ace at this point is either dead or on Gallifrey. I'm warming up, thank you. I'm going to knock my heating off. It's been freezing cold here. So I like the console. I like the steampunkish look to it. The retro. It's not really steampunk actually. It is a retro tech look. The only problem I've got with that console is it's too small. And you can tell even the production went, it's a bit small because they've actually added an extra sort of foot all the way around the edge of it to make it stick out a little bit more. The Time Rotor is like this wide. It's really small. And this is an amazing shot by you as well, by the way. What you're about to see with this camera pulling back here, with the crane, this, believe it or not, is a VFX shot. That is an insert. That's brilliant. If it weren't for the fact that I looked it up, I would have never known. And that's got to stand for something. As one of the best effect shots ever done. The whole window and everything was camera tracked onto an exterior window. That's some good stuff there. Oh, I'm not keen on this scene. What I don't like about this is that the very target audience that this is aimed at, and I remember watching it at the time, it was like, it's basically saying youth and dicks. Because there's no reason, there's no sort of like explanation as to why these guys are having a good time. And then these guys are just, I don't know, spending their evening in garbage, I suppose. I mean, there's no... Maybe it's a script issue. Maybe it's a... we're missing a bit of story here. But these guys are just being dicks for the sake of being dicks, as far as I can tell. I mean, I know they're supposed to be rival gangs. But we've got this part here where the TARDIS lands. And this is lovely. Seeing the TARDIS, seeing the Hoodlin TARDIS landing. Probably my second favourite TARDIS box. If I'm being honest, because that's a good looking TARDIS. I like the fact that they haven't tried to make it look wood. That pisses me off no end. But the fact that these guys just, oh look, strange man, shoot him. What the hell? What? Why? There's somebody be a complete stranger, let's just shoot them. Like, there's no good explanation for that. It's just youth be bad. And again, the youth at the time of watching this and going, what does this say about us? but it's gang mentality. See, that's such an easy thing to brush off. That gangs behave that way, and they just it's just not. Again, you're the good gang, the bad gang. But which was the good, which was the bad? Because they were both behaving just as bad as each other. So it's basically just a commentary on all youth at that point. A small insert line would have helped out no end. Yeah. 90s CGI. It actually doesn't look that bad. I've seen worse. No, we need to talk about this. Eric Roberts being cast as the Master. Because if you look at the list of people that they wanted as the Master, Eric Roberts was apparently they originally wanted Christopher Lloyd. But they thought, Christopher Lloyd's going to be too expensive, so they went with Eric Roberts, and it turned out to be more expensive to have Eric Roberts. But the other thing was that the list of people that they wanted to play the Master, I think I've got them on here, actually. So look here. Where is it? Because there's quite a few. Where is it? Let's go back. Oh yeah, I mean the other thing about this movie as well was that this movie was actually, but at the time of this release, this movie was actually dedicated to the memory of John Pertwee, who had passed away the week earlier. So that was a shame. Where is it? So yeah, let's have a look at the list of people that were going to play, or they had in mind, and some of them are really, really nice. Some of them are like crazily, would have done the part amazingly well. Let's turn this way so I can get the list on screen. So F. Murray Abram, yeah, I can see that. Dan Aykroyd, they'd be interested. Richard Dean Anderson, Scott Bakula. I've never seen him do bad guy. That would be interesting. Tom Berenger, also never seen him do bad guy. I've seen him do a wanker, but I've never seen him do bad guy. David Bowie, now coming off the back of Labyrinth, oh hell yeah. Steve Buscemi, Richard Dreyfuss, Chevy Chase, Phil Collins. I mean, he was great in Buster. Timothy Dalton. I mean, he was great as Rassilon. Even got to wear a ridiculous Gallifreyan outfit. So yeah, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, I could see that. Ben Kingsley. Yeah. Malcolm McDowell always does evil. No surprises there. My favourite one on this list, Christopher Lee. Oh, give me some of that. Oh, yes. John Lithgow. Guy just knocks out being a dick heel. In almost anything he does, he's absolutely fabulous. Love Lithgow. John Malkovich. Nah, that's okay. Randy Quaid, no. John Boyd. Fight. Weird looking. I'll give him that. At the time, he would have been, still doing okay. You sort of kind of past it, but still doing okay. James Woods. James Woods would have been a bit I don't know. So yeah, no, that would have been fantastic. Christopher Lee as the Master. I think I've got a set. Oh, he would. That's mind-blowingly good. But the other one that's on here is and Michael York. That's kind of, you can sort of go like that. That's okay. Peter Weller would have been a good one. Bill Pullman. Now, I thought to myself, would you have Bill Pullman as the Master? And then I remembered him in Children of Earth. Yeah, I'd have him as the Master. Yeah, you could do it totally. So, but there's a whole slew of people that were going to be considered for the Master. But it's at the same time as we got with the exit scene here, or botch job, as a lot of people call this. The amount of people that we got that were in consideration for playing the Doctor, and some of them actually auditioned as well. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, everything that you've just seen leading up to this scene here, and including this scene, is just Hollywood script. Just all of it. None of it was researched. None of it. Apparently, they did have a medical advisor on this, but one, you don't have to have somebody sign in the ambulance if somebody's unconscious to be treated, because they'll just treat them. You wouldn't do what she's doing here. Apparently, you do an EKG. I don't know myself personally, but I've been told that. You wouldn't necessarily do a probe like this. You're not allowed to travel in the back of an ambulance, so he shouldn't have been in there. There's so many things wrong with everything that goes on in the scene. Two different edits going on. You've got the American edit and the British edit. There was a lot cut out of this for the British edit, in fact. I don't think you can get a copy of the British edit anymore. The actual film was, I believe it was 7 minutes shorter for the British version. That's a lot to cut. 7 minutes is a lot. This script does rely as well on a lot of people playing a lot of decks. Because she's not allowed to be. By the way, this is a great point. Actually, she is not allowed to actually be in there like that, dressed like that, because she's wearing her ball dress underneath, and they would have made sure that she would have got out of her dress, get into the scrubs, and then scrubbed up. But in the film, you actually see a scrub up first before putting the scrubs on. And nobody thought of that, and that's just standard thinking. You get dressed first, then scrub up. I think I've still got on VHS somewhere recorded from the original broadcast. Cool. You want to keep that and look for that, see if you still got it, because I don't think you can get it. I genuinely, I don't think you can.
Sir? Yeah.
So it's weird here as well. He's about to walk into the room now to talk to Grace, right? And then he's about to nick the Doctor's stuff. But if all he wanted to do was nick the Doctor's stuff, why the hell did he go with him in the ambulance?
Yes, I am. Are you a friend of Mr. Smith's? Yeah.
And even when he did go with him in the ambulance, why the hell did he hand over his stuff? When, all he had to say was, no, that's my stuff. How would they know?
Yeah.
Grace's original name, by the way, was Dr. Kelly Grace. She was actually named for Grace Kelly. But then they decided to change her name. It's like Grace Haverbrook or something like that, isn't it? So look, where is it? We've got too many windows open. Yeah, because they're gonna go. What the hell is wrong here? Fine, okay, accept. What am I accepting? Increased cleavage. So many clocks in this. Apparently this was about time, I think. It's a clock in almost every scene. That's actually Grumps' wife. She actually played Lara in Lois and Clark, which is where I know her from anyway. That's really the only place I know her from. She's actually spends her time as a casting director. Well, he was back, and it's about time. Do you know that's the thing? That is a lot of people call it the Doctor Who the movie, including me. But it's actually not. It's just called Doctor Who. And the sub line is he's back and it's about time. That is the actual subtitle. Will Sasso over there. Young Will Sasso. A guy who, as far as I'm concerned, should definitely be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Will Sasso has done so much stuff with the WWE, and the bit if you haven't seen it, the bit where he dresses up as Stone Cold Steve Austin is just brilliant, especially when Stone Cold comes down and just stuns the hell out of him. She's fat. If you're a WWE fan, anything with Will Sasso in the WWE, but awful young in this. Hello, mate. Hello. Good to have you back. Yeah, we're currently in the middle of the Doctor Who movie, and basically Will Sasso's just wheeled the Doctor's body in. We're about to do the regeneration scene. Coming up to it, it's we're doing the parallels in the story right now. You know, it's the sort of the birth of the Master, birth of the Doctor, or rebirth of the Doctor. Can somebody tell me and clear this up for me, right? Where the hell in the Master's life is this? Many a Troughton regen face. Yes. Where in the Master? Because according to the story, this is the last Master's life, right? He doesn't have any more. This is his last life. So, does this story take place before, like, Deadly Assassin? Like, does he somehow escape the Eye of Harmony and end up, back on Gallifrey? Or, does this Master become, Anthony Ainley? Is that the order? Yeah. Frankenstein comparison. They actually just watched the Frankenstein movie and just ripped it off. Parallel universe. It's supposed to be the same continuity. Actually, most of the problems with the continuity that a lot of fans have, I actually don't, because I think a lot of it can be just sort of like explained away. Best regeneration scene ever. Best regeneration scene. Done so well. Love it. Absolutely love it. I don't know whether or not it was because of Jeffrey Sack. That is clearly not coming out of his mouth. Come on. It's just they should have just had his mouth open a little bit more. But clearly that's a pipe. It's sort of coming up here. Right, I don't like this scene with Will Sasso here where the guy Paul McGann steps out of the morgue. It's a nice joke when you start to think about it. He sort of sees this dead guy come out of the morgue and then passes out. But he works in a hospital, and people have made mistakes before and put somebody in a morgue and they've not been dead. So basically, this guy passes out because the guy escapes from a morgue. Well, I don't even know what you call those lockup cells. So he passes out because he sees a living person. I don't know what to do with that. He's just been watching a horror. I mean, yeah, exactly. He's seen weirder shit. Like, I get what the joke is, but it just doesn't make sense. You know, he handles dead bodies all the time. So if one came back to life, he'd be like, well, you're lucky to be alive, aren't you, mate? It's like the Scrubs gag where where the dead body moves and the guy picks up the fire extinguisher and hits him with a fire extinguisher. It's like, why did you do that? Well, because he was alive. Then why did you do that? No, again, another clock. Another clock in the scene. Specifically lit. Again, it's not awful. I mean, especially at this point here, whereby he's figuring himself out. I actually like a lot of what they added in, like get well soon and things like that. As he's in the hospital and he's actually he is getting better. But yeah, we need to talk about the people that were gonna play the Doctor. So let me just get the list here because this is great stuff. There's people on this list like. And you just go, oh, give me some of that. The first one obviously is Mark McGann. That's interesting. So, yeah. Let's scooch through. So. Yeah, Mark McGann, his younger brother, his older brother, originally auditioned for the part. Again, paralleling Birth of the Master and the Doctor. And if you haven't seen Mark McGann, look him up. Well, there's no need. You're looking at him, pretty much. I'm pretty sure Paul got the part because they thought he was Mark. I'm pretty convinced of that. So people that were going to play the Doctor, let's get into some of this, because some of them are really good. So Michael Crawford. Michael Crawford as the Doctor would have been spectacular. This is obviously coming off the back of Phantom of the Opera, but I mean, a lot of people are going to think some others do have them, but look. If he can do that, he can do that, and I'd be happy for. I'd be happy for that. Tim Curry, no thanks. No, it's okay. Keep that. Eric Idle would have been sarcastic, I think. Billy Connolly, no. Trevor Reeve, yeah, okay. Trevor Reeve. Obviously, Trevor Eve is most famous for having a daughter named Alice Eve, who's in Star Trek Into Darkness, I think. Michael Palin. Yeah, all right. Yeah, Michael Palin was in a weird choice. Robert Lindsay. Interested. Very, very interested. Having Robert Lindsay as the Doctor. I mean, like, most people are going to know Robert Lindsay from My Family, I guess. But yeah, Citizen Who, yes, yeah, well, he would have been there, Citizen Smith, wouldn't he? Jonathan Pryce, who obviously played the Master in what's it called, Curse of Little Death. Anthony Head. No, this is the interesting. Here's the interesting list. Anthony Head appeared in Doctor Who. Tim McInerney. I can't even pronounce his name. McInerney. Again, appeared in Doctor Who. Planet of the Youth. He's the guy with the tonic. Most people probably know him as Captain Darlin from Blackadder. Tony Slattery. Yeah, that's okay. Again, Liam Cunningham, Nathaniel Parker, and look, obviously Mark McGann. Out of that list, though, Robert Lindsay is the one that would have made me go, oh, okay. And Michael Crawford, Sir Michael
Sounds like
Crawford.
you saw the guy stole the body.
He was wearing a shroud.
Yeah, that's an interesting,
Something happens here.
Right. I think he's gonna go to a better
because they actually wanted.
Maybe stop by psychiatric and have some more.
Yeah, well, Will Sasso delivering as much as he can with the dialogue he's given. Yeah, I mean, some of the names were thrown around with who was going to be the Doctor. This is absolutely genuine. I am not making this up. I've tried to find a reference to it online, but I swear to you, at the time when they announced that they were going to be making a Doctor Who, which is 94, I promise I'm not making this. I can't find it anywhere. But I know for a fact somebody said they wanted David Hasselhoff. Now I'm guessing it was off the back of Baywatch, and at the time David Hasselhoff was massive. In doing, in '94, David Hasselhoff owned Hollywood. But then other people's names popped up, like Tom Hanks, Jim Carrey. So it was people were led to believe that Tom Hanks, because he's a Star Trek fan, was also a Doctor Who fan. Tom Hanks doesn't know what Doctor Who is. He has no clue what Doctor Who is. He was actually asked. He done an interview on Radio 1 about. It was recently, so I'm going to say about 8 months ago. But you can look it up anyway. BBC Radio 1. He has no clue. Yeah, again, Dix being Dix.
Who's a patient?
This guy. Oh, I'm the head of the hospital, and therefore I must cover up everything. I'm an asshole.
Man died last night because you lost your way.
You bet I did. You saw the X-ray. The guy had 2 hearts.
Now without a body.
I mean, this guy's supposed to be the head of the hospital.
You can't do this.
No, he can't. He's going to prison. He's going to prison. He looks a little like Hank Azaria.
What was he? How can we learn from him? I gotta find his body.
And I have to keep this hospital.
Like an older Hank Azaria.
If you do,
I know somebody who's friends with Anthony Head. Send him a message down the line and tell him that he should have been the Doctor at some point. Never heard back, lol. Giles was a very mentor-y type character in Buffy. And I think what I think he liked about doing School Reunion was he got to play the opposite that. He got to play this leader character as opposed to a mentor character, and he got to play evil instead of good. I actually like this take here where he's in the elevator and he says Puccini. I actually like the alternate take. If you haven't seen it, it's great. I think it works better because he's just standing there and he just screams it in her ear.
You were there. I sweet this night.
it was me.
No, I don't know who I am, but I know that you know me.
Please go away.
Yeah, Anthony Head as the Doctor would have been. I thought, yeah, I can see why he probably wouldn't be interested in doing that. I think they did a good job in casting Paul McGann. And of course, Daphne Ashbrook, who I continually have to remind myself that it's Daphne Ashbrook, not Leslie Ashbrook. Because Leslie Ashbrook is she with big boobies from Police Academy. But I've got to constantly remind myself. She's actually come back and done other things with Doctor Who as well. I think everybody looks at this Doctor, and I think almost every Doctor Who fan says the same thing. What a shame. Paul McGann should have had more films. Oh my word! Yeah, I think every single one. I think we were all grateful for Night of the Doctor, because this Doctor really didn't have his own thing. when you think about it, he didn't really have his own costume until much later on. He didn't have his own TARDIS because what people class as the McGann TARDIS is actually the McCoy TARDIS. When you think about it, it was McCoy's TARDIS. He hasn't had time to redecorate it. There's lots of weird stuff in this, but yeah, McGann should have had more. I think I might actually go and start getting interested in the Big Finish audios for the 8th Doctor, just so that I've got more 8th Doctor stories, even though they're non-canonical.
Where are his things?
The kid that brought him in.
Eric Roberts came back, didn't he? In Big Finish? I'm pretty sure. He either came back or he's coming back. But I've heard that he was doing another Master. Don't ask me how. I believe there's an interlude part where apparently yes. Later on, yes, because later on he's already in the TARDIS and you don't know how he gets there, and it looks like he nicked the TARDIS and buggered off and then came back. The Doctor Big Finish are supposed to be pretty bloody good. I would like them to do a Paul McGann series, even if it was just a mini series and just go like 6 episodes at a time,
Taking the sofa.
Because at least with the downtime, with what they got with Doctor Who now, they're not doing another Doctor Who now till 2020 because budgetary, because studio, because like what pisses me off with that is where I live is where they film Doctor Who, right? Not here, obviously. Like there's not like I don't keep Jodie Whittaker in a box behind the sofa, but I mean in this area, and I know exactly where the old studios were in Aberfort, at the bottom of Post Station Hill. These places that they hired for filming of Doctor Who, they hired them because they were cheap. They hired them because they were available, they were out of the way, and they could make episodes of. I mean, the Aberfort studios that they had housed Doctor Who, Torchwood, and Sarah Jane Adventures. Right? That's how big the facility was. So why you couldn't do that again and get people like Paul McGann and that back just to shoot these the mini episodes? Just blanket them out, 22 minutes long maybe. Just put it together. Do it like the old style Doctor, the classic series. There's no need to spend. We've got to spend 5 million an episode on this, or 3 million on this, or there's no need to do it. No need. I mean, I'm grateful that when they get the recovery stuff, the recovery episodes, and they animate them. I'm grateful of that. But the fact that you've got this actor, this guy who's committed, he loves the part. He's showing up to all the audios. He shows up to the conventions. He loves the fans. He put together his own bloody costume, for Christ's sake. When they won the box, he showed up with what he thought he should wear, and he put his own costume together. He cosplayed his own character. And it's just frustrating that this is, we can't get any more out of when it's there. It's all sitting there. It bugs me that they can't get off their asses and do it. Sorry, I'm having a rant now. It gets me. I've got to de-stress somehow. I love that box. I do. It's my second favourite. Gotta be. I think my first favourite is the original. I think that's gotta be my second. I know, like, the TYJ is, again, the TYJ is what I think of when somebody says TARDIS. It's because it's what I grew up with. But that's gotta be my second favourite, at least. The new ones, I don't really like the new ones. What bugs me with the new ones is the damn wood grain. Pisses me off. Because I know what a Mackenzie Trench box should look like. And that's what those are based on. and they're supposed to be cast concrete, not wood. The idea that they're wooden boxes is preposterous.
Retardus really likes you. What are you talking about? I am not.
So one of the problems I've got with Hoodlin's set, not just the fact that he's got all the sort of house and everything inside the whole living area, inside the console room,
So,
which for me should be partitioned off, is the bit whereby they go to the Eye of Harmony and start looking like a cathedral. It's a spaceship. Like, spaceship. It's what the problem I've got with the Whittaker console room. It doesn't look like a spaceship. It looks like any other sci-fi, any other thing, any other room in sci-fi, but it doesn't look like a flight control deck.
man, you stole my seats from.
But
Those are mine now. He's dead.
I do. My appreciation for this set has grown over the years. Like, it's clearly based on the secondary control room from the Fourth Doctor. You know, those with the wooden panelled walls, and there's that sort of very warm living environment. And again, you can see the add-on there. Where the camera back there, you can see where they've added that extra sort of ridge around the console to fatten it out a bit. But I actually do like the girders going up over the top, and they actually serve a purpose, unlike the Whittaker box. I give that woman so much shit. I shouldn't. It's not her. In fact, that's how much I hate the TARDIS in the interior of the new one. I don't actually know who designed it because I can't be bothered to find out. I don't want to know. It was, oh, wait a minute. It was something like Admiral Jones, isn't it? Oh, God. I forced another fact into my brain that it doesn't want to be there. So, she's just done this whole scene now with her finding out that he's got two hearts. She's checked his blood. She knows all this stuff about him. Clearly, that he's not human, and he starts telling her stuff here. What I don't like with this storytelling is, at the end of this scene, she's going to freak out and run off. Clearly, what he's saying isn't so far-fetched, given what she knows. So why it's so difficult to convince her that he's telling the truth when she's seen lovely little bit of continuity right here. So he opens that drawer, right? And he's pulled out bags of gold. Right? Now, what's really nice with that is what you couldn't see. So he's about to hand him the pouch, and there's all this gold dust inside there, right? That gold dust on the box panel, it reads Voga, and obviously there's a very good reason for that, and that's because it's that the reason why he has that gold dust is for fighting Cyberman.
What do you mean? If you could have anything.
That's just such a nice little touch. Nice little bit. But these sorts of things are peppered in. And I mean, again, it's a lot of facts, and it's a lot of Doctor Who exposition in this. You know, Gallifrey. He's mentioned where his planet is, where he's from. He's mentioned Gold Dust. Yes, not the WWE wrestler either. Ooh. Love him, mental bastard. Yeah, this bit by where they walk through this like cathedral look, it's just. I would have done something else, but I like the size of the rooms. It does look impressive. I'll give it that. Not keen on it. On the architecture, why there are bats in there. Space bats. Now, if you watch this, don't watch it too carefully, because you're about to see the case of the missing leaves. Because there's a lot of leaves in the sort of the eye, and they come and they go. They're there one shot and then disappear in the next. Don't get too involved.
If we can't open the eye. Cool.
So there's a bit coming up now whereby they're going to open the Eye of Harmony, and they're going to produce images of the past Doctor, the 7th, and the new Doctor, the 8th. And there's this whole bit now where it comes up and says, "Oh, the human retina, the human eye," and the Master says, "Oh, the Doctor's half human." Now, I never took that. I always thought that when he says he's looking at it and he says, "Oh, the human eye," and the Doctor's half human, I've always thought that that's a mistake on the Master's part, because at the time the Doctor is looking into Grace's eyes. I thought that all they were seeing was what the Doctor could see. I thought the Doctor was looking at the back of Grace's eye. And I just thought it was a mistake by the Master. There we go. Leaves, no leaves. Take it or leave it. Oh, God.
What is it?
Something's happening. Something's happening.
Why? I don't know. See, there's so many things in this film that I don't understand. And it's nice not to understand. It's to have sort of fast and loose with, why things happen. But it really only works if you've got something going. If there's something like, in Terminator, they play fast and loose with the continuity in Terminator because they're always moving on to the next thing. They have to, because the thing's constantly moving forward. But in this, there's a lot of exposition and there's a lot of stagnant bull. But this one, he's eating the jelly babies because 4th Doctor.
The new Doctor.
You read the Dark Dimension? No. Harold Wynne Jones.
That's the retinal structure of the human.
Derek, just stayed in the helmet. No, I haven't read Dark Dimension. I haven't.
Oh, I saw it.
See, that bit there, I never took that as the Master did anything other than looking in the back of her eye, not his. Dark Dimension proposed 30th special. Again, I'm very limited. I stay away from the extra canon because it's not canon. That's pretty much it, really. There's no massive. It's like the Star Trek extra canon. I stay away from that. I did have buy a couple of the Next Generation comic books, but I stayed away from. I stay away from it because it's. Yeah. They did Dimensions in Time instead. Ooh. See, now why is this so difficult for her to believe? I get that we are fans and it's easy for us to believe, but she knows he's got 2 hearts. She knows he's not human. She knows he's got blood that isn't blood. She knows all this stuff about him, and yet this is difficult for her to believe. The 3D effect was good on that. 3D effect on Dimensions in Time. They did. I know when they filmed Dimensions in Time that they actually had the camera track around a lot. They spent a lot of time moving the camera because they wanted to take advantage of the fact that they were filming in 3D. And that was difficult to do because the 3D cameras at the time were bloody massive. At the time, I guess it was like having oh hell, like having a bookcase. They were massive things. They were huge. They had to put 2 of them side by side and then put them onto the track. Yeah, it's the effect where you have 1 dark lens. Yeah, it's basically It's just flashing at different rates. And one side is one eye, one side is the other, and just cross over. It's not bad. It's a bit weird. But like, now this part we know. This is what I mean about weird explanations in this movie. So he presses against the glass here, and then both. So is it just specifically that glass, or is it all glass around the world? I mean, what if you're on like a 100-story skyscraper? And is that glass also? I mean, what about car glass? What about mirrors? What about? It's so fast and loose with the science. The whole bit where he's losing weight. You watch, he loses like 5 pounds in like 3 seconds. Oh, yeah, speaking of, like, how thin would he be by the end of this? If that's how fast you were losing weight.
Congratulations.
In 20 minutes, it starts.
That was 20 minutes, pal.
Weight loss was this tough during.
I don't know what to make of Grace as a companion, right? I know we only get this really sort of short slice of her as a companion. I think this is to Greenfields by Faith No More. Any particular reason why? Yeah, I don't know what to make of her as a companion because she seems proactive in sort of the same way that Ace was proactive. But she's, I don't know. I like the fact that she's intelligent enough that she can keep up with the Doctor, particularly at the end. Oh yeah, because it must be. Why is this important? Again, there's a bit here whereby the Doctor is so concerned with getting this clock, and the Master isn't. And I'm guessing that's because the Master's going to leave in the TARDIS. But right now the TARDIS is, you can't fly it. You need the Beryllium clock to make the TARDIS work, apparently. And yet, so what's the Master's plan here? What is it? He wants the Doctor's bodies, that's great. How are you going to get out of here? Good little exchange between the back of the ambulance as well. It's the best song ever. Okay, I mean, I'll give it a look.
Transference. That's very witty, Grace. He's struggling taking me seriously.
Hannah was tired. They met you. Oh, that's right. He's a time lord.
You know very well.
Did you know that I'm curious too? She kiss as good as me?
As well as you.
Don't even the best Faith No More song. Wait a second. Going to Vortex next if series carried on. Oh, really? Okay, so I mean, if you know about, well, is that carried on from the 7th or the 8th Doctor? I like Eric Roberts. So over the top. I don't know if he's underrated as the Master. I just like him. The thing with Eric Roberts is that if you've got a fiver, he'll appear in it, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Then we get a touch of the purple. Oh yeah. But that's the thing with McGann Doctor. In this particular movie, he is very much the flatline amalgam. He is every incarnation and everything to do with the Doctor that you've ever seen. There's nothing unsafe about this. There's no risk taking. You know, you could say, oh, he's a younger Hartnell there, and you could buy it because of the way he's dressed, the way he looks. But at the same time, there's things of pertwee about him. There's things of the Seventh about him. There's things of he is such a neutral Doctor. What we got? Yeah. Yes, then remake the Smugglers and Cybermen redesigned as Native American cyber pirates.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have seen more of McGann just to see where he could have gone with the Doctor. But again, it comes down to the fact that I mean, this movie was put together as, again, by committee. You know, 5 studios working on one film is too much. Everybody's got their own input. Everybody's got their own say. You got Philip Segal then trying to straighten everything out because he was the only real Doctor Who fan working on it. Jeffrey Sachs didn't really. He knew of Doctor Who because he was British, but he didn't really. He was doing it because it was a sci-fi and he'd never done one. The action is pretty good in it. You know, this part here, this motorcycle chase, it needed it just to pep it up. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen what McGann would have done with his own time as the Doctor. Because again, I would have liked to have seen the TARDIS interior of where it could have gone from to evolve from the McGann. I don't know whether or not they would have kept that interior or whether or not they would have changed it. I would suspect it would eventually get changed. But it's the first time that you walk into a TARDIS and really feel the size of the room. I mean, in an Unearthly Child, you sort of feel that. But in this, you really feel like, you know, this is a big open space. But yeah, the making of this was the reason why. So this goes through all the driving around here, and you'll notice that you get different sorts of looks. Like this is currently dry, but there all the asphalt and everything's dry, all the gravel. Then they come up on a wet road, and it goes through wet and dry, and that's because obviously it's all shot out of order, and in between takes it just pissed out. And if you watch the behind the scenes, you'll actually see that some of the shots were actually done with them under a gazebo, and it's absolutely thrashing it out. I mean, that's what happens when it comes to filmmaking, I suppose. But and obviously, this being, of course, the first Doctor Who to ever be shot entirely outside the UK. Jeffrey Sachs needs a little bit more credit for this as well, for the way he shot it, for the way that it was filmed, because there's a lot of little things that he's interjected, but there's clever filmmaking going on. Like he actually really says, like, you got this massive wide open space, but only 50 to 60 extras. That's all they could afford. So he decided to shoot it so that they were walking into the room, as opposed to having them already in the room, and it makes total sense. Anytime you've got a limited amount of people and a big open space, have them just enter in the room, have the space be closed, and then open it and then let them in, because you know that this space is going to be filled. But you just don't have the people to fill it. So And he's very good. And again, shooting like this as well. He's got a couple of people near the camera, and then he's got more of the people further back, but peppered in. You can't tell how far apart they are, so it's okay to have somebody quite far away. And you just can't tell. It just fills the, it just fills the background.
Dr. Bowman. He's from London. He was just going to share a secret with us.
Yes, is there a chance of crossing? No.
Again, I wish they would explain more. I know that the Beryllium clock has something to do with
Did you see how
resetting the TARDIS and closing the Eye of Harmony, but I just don't buy it as a reason for why you need it.
It's the thing it must be.
Champagne?
Oh.
This one works best if you try to ignore what you know, which is impossible with all the continuity nods. And I do like it, however. Look, as a regeneration episode, it is brilliant. As a stepping on point, if somebody doesn't know anything about Doctor Who, then this movie tells them everything. Absolutely everything. There's where he's from, who his enemies are, who the Master is, what the Master's after, all that sorts of stuff. The fact that he's an alien, he's got two hearts, the TARDIS is bigger on the inside than the outside, what TARDIS stands for. Everything about Doctor Who is layered in. When he's in the hospital. But again, there's so many nods. Oh God, this scene, I hate this. This bit where we tell him to answer the second question on the paper. I don't like this. And this part here, would you do this? Somebody has had a sweet in their hand, and they open their hand, and he takes it out of his hand and he just eats it. I wouldn't do that. Not ever. I don't know where that's been. So yeah, as a stepping on point, this is very, very good. This is a good stepping on point. It falls down on the sci-fi. Because I look how wide Robert's shoulders look at that. It's good. 90s fashion, people. 90s fashion. I mean, I get that the Master is after the Doctor. I just don't. I don't get why. And this part here where they end up lowering down on the outside. Things. What is slowly lowering you down? Like if they're throwing it over the side and we're climbing down it, no problem. But come on. Dock hard. But look how slowly they were descending though. Like they should have come down with some vigor, right?
You don't want to know.
You cannot tell me. God, Brian's gonna move in again.
I can't say.
Please.
Well, you can tell our guy not to answer the other question on the paper, but you can't tell her.
Unless I beat the time boy.
Right. Well, just give me a pointer.
Yeah, I do love. I'm gonna have to build a model of the Poodle box. Gonna have to, just so it sits alongside with that one there.
She is.
Police box? Now, I was
Yeah, notice the hinges on that
door.
on the door panel. It's actually on the same side as the. It's very similar to the Jodie Whittaker box. Very similar. Oh, I should say the Whittaker box is very similar to that one. And the front panel is now missing from the TARDIS off the floor. You notice that there is no thing across the front. And there it is, back again. Yay. So, actually, when they did that effect with the thing missing, they actually cut the box was actually removed in half, and they took the back wall off and actually widened it to make sure that the motorbike could fit. And then they just shot it like that, so you couldn't really tell how far back this wall was.
Careful.
Yes, Doctor. This looks pretty low tech.
Grace, this is a Type 40 TARDIS able to take you to
See, the name dropping everything all the time is brilliant. Putting little things in, not really name dropping, but sort of,
That would
it's a Type 40.
scary since we passed over the threshold.
Yes.
There we go. Now, why the hell does he need that to close the Eye of Harmony? What sort of malfunctioning box have you got? I mean, I know it is a malfunctioning box.
Let's see.
But why can you open it and not close it?
What?
We're already too late.
It's 11:48, so I'm gonna finish.
Plot device, exactly.
Hold on.
Again, if that console was a bit bigger, I would really, really love it. But the fact that it's the console and then you got this deck around the outside of it, and the time note is so thin.
Reliable.
Whatever's happening can't be stopped by closing the eye.
Well, how many of you done that?
I haven't opened the eye before.
Now you tell me.
Grace, closing the eye may not be enough. We have to go back to before the eye was open, maybe before we arrived.
This is a time machine.
With no power.
What?
The eye being open so long must have drained the target.
Great.
I'm sorry.
This must have power to get back in this.
No, he's not.
It needs to be struck by lightning. 1.21 gigawatts ought to do it.
To me, to this city. That must come from somewhere. Think.
Wait. Are you any good at setting alarms?
No.
Grace.
Twice.
How can you not be good at setting an alarm clock?
It's just as I divert the power from within the eye itself into the time box for you.
The jumpstart time.
We jumpstart the TARDIS.
What do I do?
Hit the top switch on the console. The top one. Yeah, now press it.
So, doesn't explain how she's.
Show me.
No, she actually hits him there with see that thing that she's got in her hand. So what she actually hits him with is actually another prop that was used in Deep Space Nine. It was actually a prop for I can't remember what it's for, but they actually used it on like an antimatter chamber or something like that. It was used by Miles O'Brien. And I've got to be honest, I think Daphne Ashbrook looks better with those black contacts in.
It's no good talking to her. She's possessed. You took my things, where are they? They're not yours.
Maybe it's just I don't know, maybe it's a kinky thing, I don't know. But I think she looks better.
Again. What's he being turned? When he gets his body back from you, I'm gonna be rich.
There's something a bit more slutty about it, I can't help it.
Why shouldn't I? I suppose I neglected to mention that there won't be any place left to spend your money. Which is why we have no time to waste.
No, here we go. I love the pomposity of this. I absolutely love it.
I always.
Look at the state of that.
I never liked it. But that's good because any minute now she'll cease to exist. What's the time? Time enough for me to get my body.
It's something that I genuinely think, yeah, I could see the Master doing that. There's something so over the top that it just sort of fits with his character. I can imagine almost any Master wanting a dress like that.
Hey, this is my goddess. This is my eye, and I'm in my own body. The Master has planned all his life now. He plans to steal mine. That's the truth.
No, again, there's a problem here with this. The Doctor has this conversation with Lee and says about how he stole the TARDIS, or he wants to steal his TARDIS to steal his body and all that. And he says that the Master told him that this was his TARDIS and all. How the hell does the Doctor know? Like, even inside the film's own continuity, he couldn't possibly know it. Now, Will Sasso again, having a bit of dance. Again, if you're a WWE fan, you've seen him, because he even came back and done like a Hulk Hogan bit as well. He should definitely be one of those people that should definitely be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And like, so this is very much a sort of a. Oh, by the way, this one was actually like the third script that they'd actually worked on, because the first one was actually, I think the first one was actually something to do with the Daleks, I believe. I'm not sure on that, but I know this was the third script. Have I got written down anywhere?
This is my only chance. He's right, Doctor. There's nothing for him here. No family, no gangs, only death. But with me.
What do you mean? What happened to the other gangs? What happened?
What do you know about chances?
You seen this by the Daleks? I actually talked about that earlier. The ones developed by Amblin for Spielberg when he was going to direct it. Yeah, and the opening, the title sequence as well. I actually like them. I really do like them. I've always felt that the Daleks were very limited because they are the creature inside and not just the shell. The shell really doesn't matter. So you could have various Daleks. Like you could have like Dalek drone things flying around and all different sorts, but they just limited themselves to the soldier Daleks basically. Lee. Break your neck. There, no, nothing can kill you. Because you're already dead. Yeah. Where is it? Let's look.
Watch.
Because that's how you get it out of her, apparently.
See. Now.
That's how you cure demon possession. There are lots of mad dark designs in the 60s adults. Yeah, but there's no reason why you can't do them. There's no reason at all. It's the same with the Cybermen. You know, the Cybermen could be, you know, because if all you're requiring is the brain, you could change it. You can really change it up. There's a Cyberman design out there which is absolutely bloody terrifying. It's similar to a Terminator Enderscan then, with like a Cyberman head, but it's like, you know, 7 foot tall, and it's crazy terrifying. Cyberplanet from the Invasion. Not sure. I'll have to have a look. I'll look at it now. I think McGann does look bonkers with that thing on his head. Not humorous. Yeah, there's no need to stick with the standard shape. As long as you identify it as to what it is, and then you explain the process of it. As long as you don't just go, oh, look at this. This is our new design. Eric Roberts just going hell for leather. Can you believe, I love Eric Roberts, and like I said, he'll do anything for a fiver. No. If you don't believe me, watch Sharktopus. If you want to make a film in your garage and you need an actor, phone up Eric. He'll be there. Him and bloody what's his face, Jeffrey Davis. He'll do anything at all. I didn't realise Bill Sasso was that big. He was really fat, wasn't he? Nice effect over there on the Master with his facial stretching around. But yeah, we're gonna have to figure this out. We're gonna have to figure out where this Master lies. Similar effect to what they done in the one with the other one with the Master, where he takes over the planet. Very similar effect. I think there's a lot of good things in this. There's just a lot of silly things, oversights. And again, you've got a lot of people standing around waving their arms like Eric Roberts there. He's standing on a precipice, on a balcony, and just like he should be doing something. But I mean, as for imagery, it's pretty. CG dust. How the piss does she know what she's doing? I wouldn't mind if she got it wrong the first time. I would like that because then it would show that she's not capable. Odd video effect to use. Do love the time vortex though. That time vortex is beautiful stuff. I got a feeling that time vortex was created with a laser. If I remember rightly, it was a wraparound laser effect. Grace and Lee, we continue. Grace, yeah. I think I would like Grace. I'm not sure about Lee because I don't know. I think Lee was very much the what the hell was the guy's name? Fifth Doctor, ginger guy, tried to kill him. Oh. Yeah. It was I think it was more interesting the fact that he aligned with the Master, and give the Master a companion. And the way that this Master's demise, like at least the Master's doing something. He's getting physical. No, these lines, they're good, quick lines, but they don't make sense. Like the Master jump in there now. What is he trying to achieve? And I mean, he was going that way anyway, wasn't he? You can't just change direction mid-flight. If you jump, you go in, you're committed. You're that way, and that's the only way possible. So he was deliberately jumping into the eye palm, and regardless of what the Doctor did. I would have preferred it like a more Phantom of the Opera ending. Actually, I would have preferred it if they'd done it up on the balcony and actually gone over the top. But at the end scene of Phantom of the Opera, where the end scene whereby they're above the opera house and they've got the big glass dome on the ceiling, and they're up and all the police are chasing up there, and he ends up getting shot and he falls through the glass and lands on the stage. I think I would have liked that sort of thing for the Master. I think Yeah, again, I'm not all the leaves inside, that makes sense. So sort of, if you go back and watch the Gopolis and see, the fact that there is a botanical section in the lower half of the TARDIS. So leaves are okay, I suppose. I'm just not really keen on it looking like a church. The cathedral styling of the TARDIS just doesn't do it for me. Again, still better than the. I mean, why do they come back to life? Why? I want an explanation. Not for all of it, but some of it. Why is the glass flexible?
I have your things.
Yeah, you thieving bastard. Kick him in the nuts.
How does it feel? Tell my dad.
It's an odd. See, again, another odd line. Doctor, I have your things. I think maybe they should have spent a little bit more time with the script. Not long, but it should have definitely have had a polish. Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey, important of things to come.
Nothing to be scared of, Doctor. Did we go back far enough?
Either that or I'm talking to a couple of ghosts and I don't believe in ghosts.
Now, apparently, the guy who actually owns that console takes it to conventions and sort of sets up his own sort of 8th Doctor room. Which is nice.
So let's see where we are. Future. Look over there. On the other side of your galaxy, that's home.
So, the other problem I got with that set, it's only a small problem. The way the set was put together and the way it was designed,
So where are we?
a couple of the shots that you see of it when they walk in through particularly when they walk in through the doors, you can actually see the studio walls. I guess that they were meant to cut the top of where the top of the doorway is. I guess they were meant to cut that off and put that effect in, that starry effect or whatever. But they forgot, or they didn't have the budget or whatever, and you can actually see the studio wall. So yeah, nice to see the Sylvester McCoy TARDIS, because we inherited it. It's not my fault. I didn't write the script.
Happy New Year.
I remember that New Year. I actually, oh god, I do remember that New Year. Everybody worried about bloody Y2K. That was a thing. Gotta reset your computers. Planes are gonna crash. The world is gonna come to a halt. God, that is a good looking box. As far as boxes go, that's a 9 out of 10.
Now that's a bit silly.
Dogs and cats live together. Okay, so you want to know the other thing that bugs me about Doctor Who and every version of Doctor Who? So you've got the front doors on the TARDIS, right?
Really?
And you've got the if you look at it from the outside, you got the right hand door and you got the left hand door with the phone box or the phone inside it. The phone's on the panel, right?
Don't be here.
So what really, 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 really bugs me is the fact that the left hand door isn't a door. On the Mackenzie Trench box, it's not a door. There's only one door on a police box, and it bugs me that they ignore that, because the other door is a wall, and if again, it bugs me that they make a wooden box, but it also bugs me that they have those two as doors when there's only supposed to be one door, and that's it. If anything was going to be wood, though, it would be that door, or cast steel, at least cast iron. Like, I don't know of any box anywhere that wouldn't be either cast concrete or cast iron. And so that's one of the reasons why I like that box so much, is the fact that when you see it, it looks like a proper phone box that has been painted and painted, government paint job. But it's Chameleon Circuit, cock up, not actual police box. Yeah, I mean, you can blame on the thing, on the Chameleon Circuit, except for in this you can't, because they call it a cloaking device. I mean, yeah, there is that as an explanation, but it's never really used as an explanation. There he goes. So yeah, I mean, he leaves her behind there. It would be nice for her to have gone back. The ectoplasmic shell, real world interface. Correct. Yes, as explained in Logopolis. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, every single time the TARDIS lands, the explanation for why the TARDIS keeps looking different throughout the Doctor Who series is that every single time it lands, it has to redraw itself, and it keeps getting it wrong. It keeps drawing it wrong. So yeah, because when it dematerializes, the ship is lifted off, and it's actually just collapsing that dimension. So every single time it lands, it has to redraw. And yeah, that's the lovely bit of music there. And it is. I do really. I like the fact that it starts with a middle eight. And it does really sort of kick in. There's a great Moffat quote about that one, in particular with the windows, I would assume. Because they keep getting the windows the wrong size. Have to say, not as bad as you remember. It's not that bad. As a jumping on point, as a regeneration episode, it isn't that bad. But and again, past couple of weeks we've sat through Twin Dilemma, Castrovalva, Robot. I don't think it's. I mean, as ridiculous as Robot is, and as over the top as Tom Baker gets in that, it's very good. Spearhead from Space is very good. Power of the Daleks is, as far as I'm concerned, indestructible. You can't do anything with that. Which to appreciate that, I think Patrick Troughton's first appearance is amazing. I mean, his entire run is amazing. But 11th Hour, that's the tough one to beat. That's a very tough one to beat. But as a regeneration episode, you've got to remember, like, at the time when this film was made, it was being made for an international market. It wasn't being made for the UK audience, which it done pretty well in the UK, in fact. But it was made for the international market. It was made for the American audience mainly, because it aired in Canada and America before it aired in the UK, which it didn't do great. But then it was being aired on the Fox network, because Fox, 20th Century Fox and Fox Network were working on the film. They shoehorned in Universal, which is why they were filming in Vancouver. There were so many things that they did with the movie. Again, it's small things with the movie. It's like, why did you put that in? Why couldn't you have taken that out? Couldn't you have changed that? It's really small things that could have made it a lot better. I think, again, I would have liked more stakes at the end. I think I would have liked something a bit more visceral in terms of, like, with the Master. And I understand why they didn't do it, but where, like, the Master slimes those people, he should have just killed them. They should have just been dead bodies. There's this whole bit whereby they have this whole thing whereby one rocks back and forth like that and then falls over, and he's just. It's a very, very cheap idea. If there'd just been dead bodies there and the master had done it, or if in terms of the amount of death in this, there's Bruce's wife, those three guys, Lee's neck, Grace. So there's 6 people. I think that's about it. Unless, of course, you want to count the other people in the morgue. So there's not a great deal of danger, at least not physical. On we told that the planet's going to be turned inside out, which is good plot stuff. But in terms of actually physically feeling it, no, I think they're going to change that up a little bit. I think they could have done something a little bit more out there. And again, so that's why I think a lot of people would have liked a McGann series, because they saw the potential in that. And it did have a lot of potential. I think, had it gone on, we had these other companions from other books, which also get mentioned in Night of the Doctor, which is obviously, when I first saw Night of the Doctor, I was both really, 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 really overly happy for Paul McGann, but the other thing was that why couldn't they have made it like an episode? Why couldn't that have been Name of the Doctor? And it should have been, really. They should have done the final episode of Doctor Who and just done that as a Name of the Doctor, Night of the Doctor as a special instead of Name of the Doctor. Just to lead up to him becoming the War Doctor. The quote: the very time the TARDIS materializes in a new location, within the first nanosecond of it landing, analyzes its surroundings, calculates 12-dimensional data within thousands of radius, and determines which outer shell would blend in, and then it disguises itself as a police box. Yes, 1963. Yes, actually, yeah. So yeah, it does all that stuff, and then redraws itself, and then gets it wrong. Which also does explain. But again, it's not like that's really sort of anything. I wouldn't say it's really anything new as an idea, because I believe that's in principle. In principle, that is what Logopolis is about. That's why at the start of Logopolis, he lands the TARDIS next to a police box, which is the Newbury prop with a different roof. But yeah, I mean that's the whole point. That's why he went to Logopolis in the first place, was that he was doing block transfer computations to try to sort out the exterior of the TARDIS. I'm not sure, but they don't actually explain what's wrong with the outside of the TARDIS. But yeah, apparently there's an issue, and they want to. The Doctor wants to sort it out. I think the failings of the movie, if I'm being honest, I think the failings of the movie are a couple of things. One, it's far too ingrained in the Fourth Doctor. He's not his own Doctor. There's too much reference to jelly babies, scarves. I mean, even in the scene where he's getting dressed, he opens up the thing and there's a massive scarf hanging up in one of the lockers. It's a nice little touch, but it's overly referenced. And like I said, you've got bowls of jelly babies, bags of jelly babies. You've got the old sonic screwdriver in a bag full of junk stuff. You've got again, the console room itself looks like the alternate, the secondary console room from the Fourth Doctor. There's so much Fourth Doctor stuff thrown in. It's clearly had the biggest influence on the movie. And again, the problem with Paul McGann in this is he's such a neutral Doctor that he's every Doctor. He's not going in one direction or the other. He's very much, like I said, he looks like a young William Hartnell in this, which is it's not a bad thing. But it's just very, very safe. There's no chance being taken there. There's no like, oh, let's be risky here with this. Let's try something very, very different. Which, I mean, if you were to look at it, again, that's probably why I like the 11th Hour a lot, is that when they went with Matt Smith as the Doctor, that's one hell of a risk. To go with somebody that young, to play somebody that old, to play this iconic character, to choose that guy who looks absolutely nothing like what anybody had a thought of what the Doctor should look like. If you were going to cast Matt Smith in anything before he made Doctor Who, he would have been, a footballer, or he would have been, an office guy maybe, but a lower rank, a low rank office guy, not a manager or something like that. So maybe somebody worked at a, what do you call it, a petrol station or something like that. You wouldn't have automatically thought Doctor Who. So yeah, I mean, they took a hell of a risk with that. With Paul McGann, I wouldn't have said. I wouldn't have said that it was that much of a risk with Paul McGann. Yeah, they took a very good-looking guy, and then they give his brother the job. So yeah, how are we going to approach next week as we do the 45 to 60-minute episodes? I've been thinking about that. What I thought I'd do for next week, whereby we going into the 9th Doctor, I was tempted because I'm not sure which is the right way around to do it, because technically next week's episode should be it should technically be Night of the Doctor going into the 50th anniversary, because that's the War Doctor story. But obviously the 50th anniversary leads with Matt Smith and David Tennant. But it is the only two stories that we've got with the War Doctor. Unless you count the end of his appearance in the Name of the Doctor. So to do it, I think the best thing to do next week, we'll do the 9th Doctor Rose. It's up to you. I mean, like as you said, it's a 45-minute episode next week. If you want to, we can probably do, say, I don't want to do two back to back. I want to do Rose, and then the week after that I'll do Christmas Invasion. Because Christmas Invasion is an hour. I don't mind doing Rose, but then do. So I'm thinking about this because there's mini episodes as well, isn't there? It's mini-sodes. Is there a mini-sode for the 9th Doctor? I don't think there is there? Oh hell! I tell you what, next week we'll do, say, the 9th Doctor Rose, Rose and Born Again. Well, the mini-sode where David Tennant steps off. Could do that. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Again, End of the World. I don't want to do the end stories because I think that's. I think those are separate videos. Then I think that to see, like, the last story, like to do 10th Planet, to do War Games and all that would be a whole section of other videos, as opposed to we're doing all the firsts. I think all the lasts are a separate thing at some point. But look, let's just do. I like the idea of doing Born Again. End of the World. Oh yes. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up with Part of the Ways. End of the World. Do you know? I've got to be honest. We can do End of the World another time. I think End of the World gets a bit more praise than I think it deserves. Because my favorite out of that lot, out of that, is definitely Unquiet Dead. I think it's a better story. I just think Unquiet Dead is much better than End of the World. We can do End of the World if you fancy. Look, let me know if you fancy that doing Rose and End of the World next week. We can do both. I don't mind. But yeah, I mean, you're right. We don't have the 45-minute episodes now. I mean, it was a big production put on for. There's stuff in next week's Doctor Who. You just missed having a couple of hours of Who. Well, I mean, like there are things about the production like next week, because obviously, like by the time it gets to the 9th Doctor, they film locally around here, and there's lots of stuff about. I mean, a lot of people don't realise this, right? But when they brought back the 9th Doctor, they were actually actively working with schools, which is something that they don't do anymore. There's lots of stuff that they did back then, with when they were starting off Doctor Who, that they actually don't do anymore. And it was I'd imagine we could think of enough nonsense to talk about. Oh, there's plenty of nonsense to talk about. But yeah, they were actively working with schools, right? And the BBC were going around different areas and different schools and all that, and that's what led to them actually doing School Reunion in the next year, was the fact that because School Reunion had actually been written for Christopher Eccleston, and then it was partially written, I should say. It was outlined, and they would actively work around in the community. There's hospitals that they would visit. One of the departments actually built a TARDIS for one of the kids' hospitals. So it was it was really it was a really good time. I've got to be honest. When they were making the show, it was a good time. When they started doing it, no, not so much. And I'm being honest about that. There's not really a stigma. Well, let me just give you an example, right? When they started making Doctor Who, there's 2 shots in the 9th Doctor in Rose, which have the original TARDIS, right? I don't mean the original TARDIS as in original TARDIS. I mean the original box that they built for the 9th Doctor. There's only 2 shots. The other shots then they changed for a different TARDIS, because it was too wide. That's what it was. But the day that they built it and they put it on St. Mary Street, there's a shot whereby Billy Piper is looking back at Howells, and then the camera drifts down. You catch the TARDIS on the side of the street, right? The day they built that, because nobody knew they were filming Doctor Who. Nobody knew. The van pulled up, the shutter doors come open, they started pulling the base out and laying it down on the pavement. By the time they got the pillars up and the walls, there was a crowd like nobody's business. It was massive. Absolutely. I happened to be there on the day that they started putting it together, because it was a Tuesday afternoon. I had the day off work. I went down Cardiff. I went to Forbidden Planet to have a look, see what sort of bollocks they had in Forbidden Planet. I walked down Mary Street and you couldn't get through. I'm not making it up. You've never seen it. Anything like it. It was. We can talk about the flaming sofa scene next week. The missing flaming sofa scene. But yeah, it was unbelievable. And I think maybe they knew when they saw that crowd appear for the TARDIS. I think they probably went, "Oh shit! Maybe we should book streets now." And they ended up doing that. They ended up actively booking streets. So yeah, but it was a special day, and to see that thing in person was massive. I mean, genuinely, it was at least I would say the box was at least 9'5" tall, but the width on it was about 5 foot square. It was monstrous. And then of course they reduced it to like 4'5". But it was just a beast of a thing. But in terms of it didn't look that blue either in person. I don't know what they did, because you know at the end of Rose where they got that spotlight shining on the front of the box, and it's like this really sort of blue looking thing. In person, it sort of looked like a dark aquamarine. It was a weird color. But anyway, that's more for next week. This week now, finishing up with Paul McGann. I think, now again, we were talking about the casting choices that they could have had. I would have been interested in seeing what Robert Lindsay versus Christopher Lee would have looked like. Christ, Christopher Lee's the Master would have been. The more I think about it, the more it's like, Jesus Christ. But come on, Sir Michael Crawford and Christopher Lee. Michael Crawford is the Doctor, Christopher Lee is the Master. Holy hell. Missed opportunity. Yes. Big time. Big time. Again, coming off the back of Phantom of the Opera, maybe Michael Crawford wouldn't have wanted to do it. I know that apparently the excuse that was given about why Jim Carrey didn't do it was because it was reported that Jim Carrey said no, it should be a British person playing the part. I don't fully buy that. To me, like at this moment in time when this movie was being made, Jim Carrey had finished doing SNL stuff. Was this SNL or was it in Living Colour, or did he do both? But at that time he had done Deadpool. I mean Deadpool as in Dirty Harry. Deadpool, not Deadpool as in the Deadpool as opposed to Deadpool. And he was very much on the up and up. You know, and that had been what, 6 years earlier. So he's very much on the up and up. He's just about to do he's just done The Mask. I guess he's just doing Ace Ventura, and somebody's going to get him to do Doctor Who. I don't buy it. Yeah, I just don't buy it. So as for the casting choice, again, if you haven't seen him, right, look up Mark McGann, because I'm convinced. Because Mark McGann auditioned twice. He was the one that was interested in doing the part. Take a look at a picture of Mark McGann, and then look at a picture of Paul McGann, and try to guess which one's which. So yeah, I mean, as for the Eighth Doctor, now, because whereby we, so, yeah, Trevor Reeve, yeah, Billy Connolly, Eric Idle, Tim Curry, Michael Crawford, Jonathan Pryce. Might explain later. Yeah, absolutely. It could have been so good if they had continued the series. My advice, if they were going to continue the series, would have been to cut the BBC out of it, to have just said we don't want your involvement, because it is. If you look it up and check, Joe Wright was the guy who was telling them, oh, you can't do this, you can't have this, you can't change that. And it was 20th Century Fox that were the ones going, no, we paid for this bloody IP. We want the police box, we want the music, we want the Daleks, we want the... Don't tell us we don't want this shit. You don't want us to have this shit. And I guess, like, from the BBC's point of view, from Joe Wright's point of view, working as a representative of the BBC weren't fond of Doctor Who at that time. You know, they were the ones that cancelled it, for Christ's sake. So, working from their point of view was that they probably didn't have... They had a minimal investment in it, but it was their IP. 20th Century Fox saw the potential in it, and the reason why this movie exists is because of 20th Century Fox, and no other reason. You know, Philip Seagal fought hard for all the things that they got, all the little references. Anything that was referenced to Doctor Who, like the big seal of Rassilon above the door, that's all Philip Segal. Anything like that is all him, because he was the guy who was in the know, and he was the Sylvester McCoy brought his own bloody hat. That's what sort of film we're dealing with here, when it comes to Doctor Who continuity, whereby Sylvester McCoy brought his own hat. That's why we got this production, is because 20th Century Fox wanted to make it. Would they have made a Doctor Who movie now? Would I want to see a Doctor Who movie now? That's the thing. Because I've got to be honest, if they were to make a new Doctor Who movie, a cinema movie, a proper, full on, following in the wake of Harry Potter and I think Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Like, if you ask me, Fantastic Beasts is just a Doctor Who knockoff. It's good, it's really good, and I enjoy it. But it is, it's a Doctor Who knockoff. Newt Scamander is very much the Doctor. Would I like to see a Doctor Who movie? It really, first of all, it's going to come down to the story, and second of all, it's going to come down to whether or not they reboot or not. Because I'm not sure I want to see a Doctor Who movie that fits with continuity. I thought the Peter Cushing movie, because if you go back and watch the Peter Cushing movies, Doctor Who and the Daleks and Daleks Invasion of Earth, I think I can understand why they wanted to keep those separate from continuity, because you are very limited by what you can do. And not just that, but then the series becomes limited. Because if you imagine that this is how good you can make something for a movie, you have to go back to making a TV show. And I think the line's blurring a little now with how good the season 11 looked. Versus, because again, you're dealing with a much bigger budget, right? And a BBC, a British independent movie, we're going to be talking 30 million maximum. I can't imagine an independent BBC co-production would have much more of a budget, because they've already got a studio, so they'll go, we don't need to hire a new studio, we've got a studio. Even though the producers would probably be going like, well, yeah, but what we want is a big studio. And don't get me wrong, Rothlock is a big place, right? It's a massive studio, Rothlock. But considering that they had Bad Wolf Studios, and if you don't know, Bad Wolf Studios is huge, right? It's a ridiculous size studio. But I think I've got a feeling Pinewood Cardiff is closed down. But there is a massive studio in Swansea, film studio, on the bay, and that's what you'd want. Because you'd want to, if you're going to do like Gallifrey or something like that, you're going to want a massive set for it. You don't want to. There's no point in doing a movie and sticking to the scale size of a TV show. So then you've got the problem then of what happens when you go back into a TV show then, and you've got to make that movie fit into continuity. So would you want to see a continuity-based movie, or would you like to throw the cannon out and start again? Do you know, I'd just like to see a good Doctor Who movie, and I'd be happy with either way, I think. And then if they've got to make the movie fit into continuity for the TV show, then that's the TV show's problem. But yeah, I think if I've got to sit through a Doctor Who movie, just make it a damn good Doctor Who movie. Do you know what I think would be a really good Doctor? And if we were going to cast, say, you're going to cast an American, I mean, Jeff Goldblum easily, right? That would be a. I think he believes he's the Doctor. But I mean, Jeff Goldblum would be a nice choice. But I'd like to give Michael Rosenbaum a crack at it. I think Michael Rosenbaum could do a fair job. It seems a bit weird, but he's a bit of a weird guy himself. If you watched any of his interviews whereby he does this show called Michael Rosenbaum Inside You or something like that, you can see he's got these quirks and these little, and he's funny as hell. But I think he would be a decent choice for the Doctor for a movie anyway. And if you were going to do a Doctor Who movie, it'd have to be the Daleks, wouldn't it? You would, but it'd have to be the Daleks, and it'd have to be some sort of war, some sort of battle. You'd want to kick up the action. Don't expect Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. But I mean, if you were going to do it, you'd have to create some sort of excitement that way. You don't want that. You can see what the problems were with McGann, whereby they didn't have the budget for extras. They didn't have the budget for, they could afford 2 stunt people. And one didn't look like Paul McGann, and the other one was a woman. So yeah. As for the movie though, as for this movie, the movie that we landed with, I think at the time it came out, given the amount of fingers in the pie, the fact that the director didn't know what the hell he was doing in terms of what he was directing, as opposed to I'm not saying Jeffrey Sachs didn't know what he was doing as a director, because clearly he did. Like I said, you had that massive crane shot. Michael Crawford would have done his own stunts. He damn right he would have. He would have insisted on it. Can you imagine Michael Crawford and Jackie Chan in the same film? The insurance guy would be dead. They'd be like, who are you signing? Oh, Michael Crawford, Jackie Chan. Really? Yeah. Clear? Christ on a bloody bike. Yeah. So yeah. As for this though, I think if I'm going to place this as a regeneration episode, which this is, compared to the other regeneration episodes, I'm going to still say 11th hour first. Behind that, it's going to be 11th hour, Christmas Invasion. No, 11th hour, Power of the Daleks, Christmas Invasion, Robot, Spearhead from Space, then this. And then you make up your mind where the others lie. Castrovalva is down the bottom. Twin Dilemma's just under that. 9 didn't get a regeneration episode unless you count the 50th anniversary. Because again, we don't really know where Rose lies. People presume that Rose is just after his regeneration, but we don't honestly know. There's that scene where he looks in the mirror and goes, "Oh, look at the ears." And I've said to people before, how do we know he just didn't have a haircut? Probably know he had hair like bloody Spinal Tap, and somebody just went, "Oh, he's doing this mission," and he had to pop into a barber's or something. But we don't know for a fact whether or not he's looking in the mirror and going, "Oh," and looking at his new haircut. Because again, maybe he looked like bloody Brian May. So there's that. But yeah, as a regeneration episode, I think maybe as a jumping on point, this is the strongest one. If you're going to jump on to Doctor Who, I'll get a friend to jump on to Doctor Who. This is the one to watch because it explains everything. Is it a great story? No. But there's so much information in here that you'd know. Even that bit where he's talking to Grace and he says, the TARDIS. What's the TARDIS? He explains. TARDIS, time and relative dimension in space. He explains it all. And it's littered with exposition about the Doctor, his past and everything that you're going to get it. It's got enough action, I think, that it keeps you solid and keeps you interested. And that motorbike chase, picks up the thing exactly where it needs to be picked up. Because it's moving along at this pace, and it really does need this kick in the ass. The problem is that it kicks it in the ass, and then it comes back down again. And what it should do is kick it in the ass, keep it at that sort of level, and then go up and then finish. I think that it potentially peaks too early, and there's not enough sci-fi in it. It's just a little bit. There's a little bit too much bollocks and less actual sci-fi, and not enough explanation of it. So I think how long have we been on? Ooh, 2 hours 10 minutes. Crikey, doesn't feel like it. That went by quick, didn't it? So yeah, I think that I don't think there's any more to say about the 8th Doctor, except what a shame. Could have been potentially good. Would have loved to have seen more. Again, I would love to see an animated series of the 8th Doctor. At this point, I don't care. Do you know what? I'd like to see Paul McGann I'd sit on a chair outside my house and he could just perform in the street, as far as I'm concerned. He'd do it because he's got his own jacket, he's got his own costume. So yeah, what a shame. But next week we're on to the 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston. Controversy with that one. And then it's on to the 10th after that. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please give me the thumbs up, because they are beneficial. And also, as well, if you want to share this video with other people as well, and also subscribe to if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please. But until next time, next week when we'll be doing Rose, I shall see you then. 8 p.m. next Sunday. Doctor Who for Sunday. Sunday fun day. See you later, guys.